because we need to let you know what are the steps for you to follow. We need you to talk to Tom to find out if there's anything you need to do credit or income-wise. If you think it might be farther than a year or so, let's still have a conversation so we can put some important steps into your mind as to how we're going to proceed. Okay? You want to do this, Mikey?
All right, so next slide, or on the paper, as you guys can see, it's number 7. The important people in the process. We talk about that. There's different people, right? There's me, there's Lori, and then there's Tom. Tom is the main guy that runs. He has a license, so he works with a company, and he is the company himself, basically. He runs to check. He's the one that gives the best financial advice. So let's say, Mr. Lester, you said, hey, I want to buy a home. I'm like, great, I know a wonderful guy that can help you out. That's Tom. Tom will ask you for some information. He gets a pre-approval for you, and then you come back and you say, all right, Mikey, this is how much I got approved for. This is the price range that we're looking at, and this is what we could start looking for. A realtor, which is Lori and I, we are the ones that help you with the process of buying a home. We show up to locations with you physically. We help with negotiation processes. We give you all the information that has to do with getting a home. There's a lot that goes into it, I'm not going to lie. But
he's being modest. They're the important ones in this.
Think of us as a matchmaker between what you want and need and finding that property.
Yeah. So it is a fun process, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it happens very, very quickly when you're looking for a home, and sometimes it takes time. And, you know, there's great things to it. When you look down the list as well, it talks about your bank. Again, Tom, I mean, what would you say about that?
To Lori's point, and she made a really, really important point that I just want to make sure wasn't missed. The average homeowner, as far as building wealth in America, 40 times more than the average renter. So that's where really the wealth is made these days, is by owning, and you can get in. We'll talk about it in a second. You don't need a huge down payment. You just need to start. I'm loud. I'm going to sing for you here in a second. If you give me handing microphones. But yeah, to Mikey's point, as far as the bank, I'm a mortgage broker, meaning I work with over 50 different banks. So it's just nice to have the option where I can shop for you. Like, let's get you in the best rate, best product, best price. They'll find you the right house. I'll make sure you're comfortable with the payment for that. So.
Yeah. And then inspections, right? There's specific people called inspectors. They're the ones that go out and they do a thorough inspection of the home to make sure everything is up to code, and they tell you things that need to be fixed and things that don't need to be fixed in terms of if you're buying or if you're selling your home. When we go to the next slide, let's see. I might need some glasses too.
No, I know. I had to get mine. Thank you. As your realtor, there's certain things that are responsibility. When you get your license, you're just an agent. We went the step farther and took the commitment to become realtors. So we protect your interests solely. Now, we represent the seller until you hire us to represent you as a buyer. So we have a contract that you sign saying, yep, I want to work with you. Great. Then we can be very myopic and focused on what's best for you. You want to pick this person carefully. I think referrals are a great way to do it. Trust, relationship, those types of things, and experience. And between the team that we have at the Action Jackson Group, we have over 40 years of experience in real estate. And then you add the experience of people like our lenders, and it just continues to grow from there. You want to make sure the personality is a fit too, because you're going to be spending time with these people. Maybe not in the car driving from house to house, but you'll find we get very close, and our schedules become the same and things like that, till we get you in that house and it becomes yours. We are still available to you. Ask us questions. We want to be your trusted resource, but it is really important that we all get along. Can't we all get along?
And if I can just say a 1 minute thing on that is, I work with several realtors. What they're being humble, but that importance of that trust. I see sides of realtors that most clients don't see, and what happens is a lot of them, they begin to look out for their own best interest, not the client's best interest. Where these guys are looking out for their clients always their best interest first. So,
Tom too, by the way. All right, on to the next slide. What's your responsibility? There's some important things along this process that you need to have conversations with yourself about. Am I picking a neighborhood because my friends live there? Or am I picking a neighborhood because this is where I can see myself living, spending the 5 to 9, raising my children? Is it a convenient drive to work, to church, to the grocery stores that I go to? Because sometimes we don't take that into account, and it has to be a fit for you. And that's one thing that COVID taught us, is we spend a lot of time at home, so it better be a place we enjoy being, that we enjoy being ourselves, that we enjoy spending time maybe working on our business there. At that point, it was also doing schooling, right? So having enough space for your family and planning either for your growth or planning for right sizing as they move out as well. But Tom has things that are your responsibility once you apply for the loan.
So yeah, just part of the process is we want to make sure that we can afford the house that we end up getting, right? So we pay stubs, income documentation, stuff like that. I can't preach the importance of credit enough, like good credit, and it's okay if you don't have it today. It's maybe you don't qualify today. Maybe now's not the time. Let's just work out a plan, because you don't want to come up next year, same thing, the next year, the same thing. We want to get you into a home that you can start building that wealth and creating, I see lots of kids here. You want to be able to pass on for the next generation as well. So.
Awesome. And he'll tell you things about, okay, don't go buy that new car. Yeah. Don't go to American Furniture just because it's 6 months no payments, right?
I almost did that.
Yeah, see?
Started going to Costco, and I was like, wow, this couch looks nice.
Don't buy it. Just say no. Yeah, so wonderful. All right, we'll continue to move on.
Yep, yeah. So the next slide, it talks about what types of home that you'd want. There's different types of homes. There's single-family residence, which basically means it's a detached residence with nothing above or below. Think of a single-family home as, I guess, a single home, on its own. There's nothing else around it. Townhomes, if you look at the picture, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but it almost kind of looks like an apartment, but there is walls in between, obviously. And then the next one is condominiums. Condominiums are, you own your side of the walls, but not the air rights. So let's say there's 4 walls here and I'm in this wall. I own the space in this wall, but I can't go above,
Because there might be somebody above there with
exactly.
their 4
the
walls.
The air is not mine. Exactly. The modular home is components made elsewhere, but permanently is affixed to the foundation. And then a manufactured home is basically a house you can just pick up and move with it.
The other way around. Modular and manufactured are the same, but mobile.
Mobile homes, yes. The ones with wheels on the bottom that you see on the highway. People just, they're like, I'm moving. I moved the whole house with me. Yes. Let's go to the next slide.
And I think I did that one early on. Yes, okay. So types of transactions. A lot of people think, hey, I just want to get the foreclosure list because I know I can get a deal. I'm going to be the one to tell you the truth. There really aren't deals. The economy is still so great. Interest rates were so low. Employment is good. And so there aren't a lot of foreclosures or deals to be had. And when they do happen, it's investors that gobble them up. So when it comes to type of transactions, there's a sale. When Tom moves and I buy Tom's house, that's what we think of as a sale. There's a short sale where Tom's got to move out because Tom didn't make his payments. Boy, I'm making you into such a great guy. And he's told the bank, hey, I can't make payments. And they're like, all right, well, let's sell it. They sell it, and he knows he has a deficiency he owes the bank. Well, maybe Tom can't be that upfront, and so the bank has to foreclose on him, force him out, and then they sell it. The bank does. And a HUD sale, a HUD home, would be if someone had to foreclose on Tom and HUD was the lender. That's what they say when they're talking about a HUD sale. And there are properties that have deed restrictions. My own house has a deed restriction. I live in a neighborhood where you have to be 55 or older to live there, okay? So a young person couldn't come in and move in. Now, I can have my adult children live there as long as they are,
Including me?
yeah, as long as they are over the age of 25, they can be permanent residents, right? But it's because I own it. There's other ones that I think are fabulous, and they're affordable housing where they limit how much the property can appreciate. So let's say Mikey buys a house and he gets it under market price. Well, it's income-based, right? He can only make this amount of money to qualify. He does, he buys it. Now, 5 years down the road, he decides to move, and property values have continued to go up. Okay, let's say 10% a year. It's really 7 right now, but let's say 10 because that's a lot easier math, okay? And he could, you would think he could sell it for this killing, but because they want to keep that neighborhood affordable, he can only experience a 3% growth each year. So there's certain restrictions that we want to know about, and it might not change whether or not you choose to live there, but it's something that you have to be aware of, okay? Do you want to go over responsibilities of your realtor? Kind of did it, but.
Yeah, responsibilities of realtor. They buy you food and bring you cool stuff.
Do you need that?
Yes, we are the realtors.
And isn't that a fun word? You hear everybody say realtor. It's 2 syllables.
Or
realtor.
Yeah, realtor. Now, there's realtors and there's agents, right? They do the same thing as us. The reason why we're called realtors is because we're bound by a code of ethics, which is...
It's above and beyond what you have to do as an agent. And a lot of it goes into how we deal with you, how we deal with the person on the other side of the transaction, and how we deal with the realtor as well. Keeping everything ethical, above board, honest, and open.
I just think we're better. Now, when we talk about responsibilities for your realtor, right? A realtor is supposed to explain the difference of roles. For example, what we just did. We help you find a suitable home for the place that you like, right? I'm not gonna get you into a place where it says, maybe 55 and older, maybe you're not 55 and older. We prepare and negotiate an offer and a contract for you. So if you were selling your home, we would help with the process, right? From, hey, this is what needs to be done in the house to get it ready to be able to put on the market. And if you were buying a home, we would say, hey, this is the process and these are the things we need to look out for to be able to purchase this home that you want. We protect and promote your best interest. So we're here for you. We're on your side, and we're going to negotiate and get the best whatever that we can for you. Maybe it's included in a TV. Sometimes we'd be like, listen, we'll buy this house if you give us your TV and your fridge as well. Sometimes it works. But yeah, we listen to everything that you want as well. If you want something that's, in a specific neighborhood, let's say, a specific neighborhood that has a school or a Costco next to it. Yeah, I'm back.
I can
on
see what's
Costco
important
again.
to you, Mikey.
To summarize that part of it, we're here for you and we're on your side, and this is what we do.
Yep.
So
And I think one of the last lines there is be your liaison during the process. Really what all 3 of us take as a big responsibility is your trust. And so we want to take as much heartburn as we can out of the transaction because things are going to come up and they might be stressful or confrontational. We're going to try to handle all that for you because we've done it before. We'll do it again. And you might not need that extra tipping point, let's say. And so we're going to try to make all that smooth because you're dealing with, I've got to find a mover, I've got to get this kid's schools notified, I've got to do all those change of addresses. Now, what am I going to do if I have to buy my own fridge? Let's go shopping for that. No, we can't buy it yet because we got to do the. So you've got enough things that you're working through that we're going to try to take all that heartburn out. And we have someone who works with us called our transaction coordinator. And it's kind of like you have your own miniature assistant. She's going to keep you on track as far as dates that we have to follow, deadlines of things that you have to do. She's going to help us get the closing schedule to make sure you bring everything you need to closing. And she'll give you the list of, don't forget to notify water, power, cable, all those things so that once you're moved in, it's all pretty smooth. Tom has processors and assistants that do the same thing. Hey, we need this paperwork. Did you let Tom know this? And Tom does a wonderful weekly update for you that keeps not just you in the loop, but also us in the process as well.
Yeah, I would say just to bottom line that it can be stressful, right? There's a lot of moving parts. We're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure you get to closing as stressful as possible. So,
perfect. Okay, next one is you. Kind of. I wrote it, so who knows if he's going to really like it.
Yeah. Just some. I'll quickly go over this. Some common misconceptions. People still think that you have to have 20% down. You have had to save up for so much money. Does anyone know Dave Ramsey? Yeah. So I'm a fan. I'm one of the few mortgage people that like Dave Ramsey. But one misconception that he puts out there, he says save up 20%. If you look at our Denver metro, especially the past 4 or 5 years, we've been appreciating 10%. You can't keep up with that. So you're trying to save the 20%. We need to get in so then you can capitalize on that wealth and the appreciation. If you're standing on the sidelines, you're trying to save up the 20%, and meanwhile it's going up higher and higher, and it becomes less and less affordable to get in. So that's a big one right now. Also is, the up there it says about the perfect credit. You don't need perfect credit. We can get you in. There's different programs. There's different things where it still can make it very affordable, very comfortable. And again, like I said earlier, even if that's not today, let's just get you on a plan where whether it's next year or 2 years from now, you don't want to be renting your entire life because, let's say a common rent here is $2,500. You're throwing away $30,000 a year. You have nothing to show for it. So, go ahead.
And the last item about how are we compensated? When you write your offer and you pay $400,000 for this house, the seller pays us. It used to be that people said, it doesn't cost you anything. Well, since we're paid by your purchase price, conceptually you are paying us, but you're buying the home and then it's a cost of selling your home. So when you go to sell, you need to know I have to pay my agent and I have to pay the buyer's agent. So don't think you've got to save that extra money. Okay? So next one. Mikey, I'm going to have you do why buy now and why fight for your future. Do you need my glasses?
Oh, no.
Okay.
So the next bullet point talks about why you should buy now. When we look on it, right, the median rental cost right now is about $2,171 for a two-bedroom. For something that's about 1,000 square feet. Home prices have appreciated for about 7.2% annually in the past 10 years. That tells you a lot. That speaks a lot, especially since COVID. A lot of things happened during that time. Median home pricing in February, right, as of February 25th, is about $585,000. That's, let's say, right in the middle of how much people are spending towards homes now. There's different sources you could find for homes, right? I'm sure you guys know people go to Zillow, even on Instagram. You might start seeing me post, pictures of houses as well. But Denver Post and RE Colorado, those are places that you can go to honestly look at pricing of homes, and sometimes the pictures are nice.
We'll be your source. When we figure out what you qualify for, or where you're looking, and what are the attributes, we'll set up a search. So as soon as something hits the market, you'll get the email, right? It's kind of like a dating app where the new person on the app, you get sent, and you can swipe one way or the other, okay? Another thing is that I just want to say in relation to that median home price, in 2025, it's 585. In 2019, it was 219,000. So that just shows you over this 6-year period how the median price has gone up. Okay? Why buy now?
Why buy now? You should buy now because I think it's a great idea. Because now is the right time. The longer you wait, the more things happen. I think about it and I'm like, what would have happened if I saved $10 a day since last February? I'm like, wow, I would have had a lot of money by now. But
you'd been less caffeinated, but
exactly. But I'm here now and I'm thinking about the same thing. I'm like, well, how about if I do it now and then see what happens next February? The right time is now. Don't wait and say, I remember when I first purchased my home, someone was like, well, this is a bad market. You probably shouldn't buy. It's a horrible idea. I was like, well, I can't just return the home. I already did it, right? And as 2021 went by and then we're in 2025, look at the median price again. And then, things are changing. Prices are going up, prices are coming down, interest rates are going up, interest rates are coming down. Nobody can really tell the future. Maybe Tom might. Once in a while for rates. The average net worth of a homeowner is about $400,000. I'm working towards that. Now, an average net worth of someone who rents a place is about $10,000. Now, when we break down into what that looks like for a little bit, obviously the net worth comes down into the pricing of our home, right? What I believe and what I think and what I've seen so far is with someone who purchases a home, the process and the idea of purchasing a home basically helps you see things from different perspectives, right? In terms of saving money and in terms of finding other sources of income or having other ways to create generational wealth. And that's the whole point of taking that step to purchase a home or even do an investment of any sort in different places. Down on the list, home ownership is basically single best way to grow wealth. 85% of your wealth comes from your real estate investment. This is according to Reddit. I don't know if anybody uses Reddit, but it's a great source to hear, honestly, anything unfiltered. Your home basically appreciates in different ways, and it's anticipated to continue in the coming years. So as the years go by, the value of the home just keeps on rising. You can sit on it for 30 years or maybe 2 years and...
Can I share my personal thing on that?
Yes.
So I bought my first home in 1998, I think, for about $180,000. I didn't have any money to put down. I was just renting, and I said, gosh, for what I'm paying in rent, I probably could buy a house. It finally hit me. Sold 2 years later, and we made about $80,000. So I started with zero, right? Sold it, just property values grown up, so I sold it for $80,000. Then you roll that into the next one. Some have done better, some are worse. But bottom line, start with zero. Right now I probably have about $1 million of equity in my house. And I had, nothing. So it's just, if I was renting that whole time, I could say, well, a mortgage is a little bit high right now, or rates are a little bit high right now. I'm going to wait and rent. I would never be able to come up with that money right now. It's just like a matter of, it's like your first car. You're not necessarily still driving your first car, but you got a car and you can, it's like a house. Like, okay, I'm going to get in. Don't expect it to be perfect, but it's just important to get in because now you're off the sidelines. You're no longer throwing away that money and renting, and now you're building the wealth for you. So,
2 things. values of homes won't always go up, right? Just like the value of your education, it might go, that's not such a worthy trade, and then it comes back, right? So we're not going to guarantee you that it grows all the time, but on average, they keep this 40-year rolling average, so it takes into account down markets, it takes into account local issues. Maybe you're in Texas and there's a lot of oil issues, and then oil tanks, and so people lose their houses, right? So, but as far as an investment goes, it's not just an investment in your pocketbook, but it shows that education scores of children who live in homeowners' homes are higher. They feel like they have a commitment, they've got safety, they've got security. There is typically a more cohesive neighborhood when there are more homeowners versus renters. So there's so many intangible things that go with home ownership that we want to encourage for everybody that aren't just for you. Because by owning that house, you're now setting up a mindset in your children's minds. And you are establishing, Mikey used the term generational wealth, which is huge. And as we see the population aging right now, I had a number, but I'm in my 50s, so I forgot it, of the number of people that are going to be transferring their wealth to their children and our grandchildren, either because of estate planning, death, moving into assisted living, those types of things. So if that's your current situation, or if you have parents or grandparents that are wealthy, transferring that wealth now when you need it to buy that house is such a better use of their funds, because if they're just sitting waiting for it to grow so when they die they can give it to you, but you need it now and they're using it, maybe they can, and they want to be fair, and I absolutely get that. I need to be fair with my children. If I give one, I give the other. So if they can do that transfer now and help you out, it's a tough conversation as adults to have with parents, but it's so important, right? And you could be setting yourself up so that at some point in the future, you can do the same thing for your children, okay? Now we're gonna go on to credit do's and don'ts.
Yeah, so basically, like I was saying, why it gets so important on credit is you could end up paying $1,000 more if you have good credit, if you have bad credit versus if you have good credit. So it's just a matter of, regardless of what your past is, it's start, the dues now, making the payments on time now. Don't be doing any collections, charge-offs, anything like that. It's easier, a lender is going to go back. Let's say sometimes I'll talk to some people and they just had a really tough time and they couldn't make their bills. So what we care about is, okay, again, maybe it's not today, but maybe it's next year. If we can go 12 months with no late payments, then we're okay. So it's not a matter of, we're in church, right? So it's kind of like Jesus, not doing we're not worried about, our past is forgiven, right? The lenders kind of say, hey, we know you had a tough time. What have you done since then? So.
Nice analogy, Tom. Good job.
Our future's bright in Jesus.
Yes. So how do we get started, Mikey? Why don't you give everybody kind of a path?
Yeah. So on the next slide over there, it talks about how to get started. And in the beginning, I did talk about Tom or a lender. They're the guys that get everything done for you. On the paper, there's a website that has, an email link that has Tom's email on there. And then there's a website as well that goes to Tom's website to where you can apply. It takes a couple of minutes, it asks you a couple of information, and then it sends the information over to Tom. And then once Tom gets that information, he reaches out to you, gets some more extra stuff, and then he gives you a pre-approval. Again, that doesn't cost anything. It's just saying, hey, where do I stand and where am I right now and what do I need to work on so I can get on to the next step of purchasing a home.
And why do we have lenders that we trust? Because this is one of your most important financial decisions that you'll make. And I need to make sure that the lender is going to do what they say, put you in a good product, and perform. I've had transactions where people use their cousin, and it was a week before closing, and we couldn't close because they didn't get the file approved. I have never had that problem with Tom. He has not only closed on time, he's communicated on time, he's formed relationships with my clients, so that if you called and said, hey, should I refinance? He's not gonna say yes just because it might make him money. He's gonna analyze what would be best for you. And oddly enough, when you say, hey, Mikey, you can get a bigger place, Mikey and I might talk you out of doing that. We might say, we want you to keep that place for the income potential that you get as a landlord, right? So when rates are low, instead of making those extra payments on a mortgage, we might say, you know, that $120 you got as your raise, put it into a different savings account so that when you do want to buy another property, you have that as a down payment, and we can leave this awesome rate on this house or this condo, whatever, alone, so it can cash flow better for you. Okay?
Just a quick update, and I apologize because it didn't maybe make the presentation.
Technology.
But I have a thing, if Mikey can, I don't know if he has email addresses but it's just a simple, like a QR code. It'll pull up an app, and it's brand new. It's kind of why I didn't make this, but it's secure, it's confidential, but it'll help you walk through the steps for homeownership. And even to the point where if you want to link it to your bank, it'll tell you, like, it'll give you a free credit report once a month. You can go in and you can say, okay, well, I know I want to get my scores up. How can I do that? And you can do what's called a what if. Like, in other words, you can say, well, if I paid this one down a little bit, how much would my points go up? It'll let Mikey know, like, hey, you're ready. It'll give you, if you want to just start, looking for homes online, it has all that. So I don't know if there's a way to get it, but.
Can you pull it up and we sit in the corner? I know. Okay. You want to do that, Mikey? Yeah. Okay. So he said get pre-qualified. See, we're going to skip the information about what are HOAs and the inspections and such, but that'll be something that we go over with you when you come to us. We don't want you to be intimidated. We're not going to use lingo that's industry lingo and make ourselves feel all important. No. We want to make sure you understand, you're comfortable, you're not additionally stressed out, and that this process is something that you're okay with. Because none of the three of us advertise, right? I'm not buying big billboards. I'm not taking out Facebook pages, although I might take out some ads. But our business comes from you referring your neighbor to me, you referring somebody at work, you referring somebody from the gym. We want to make sure we treat you right so you can put your name to us when we take that very personally, and that means the world to us. The Action Jackson Group does what we call a hero rebate. We want to thank the people that are so important in not just our community, but our lives. My late husband was a fire chief, and he passed away of cancer from job-related duties. So this hero rebate, we take $2,500 of our compensation and give it back to you at closing if you are fire, police, military, healthcare, teachers, or worship leaders. All of those people have important protection and responsibilities in our life, right? And it's our way to say thank you. So anytime somebody is buying or selling a new home, we give that rebate back so you can get a new fridge, so you can pay some closing costs, those different things. But we want to make it so for our heroes, they feel our gratitude as well. So, perfect. Oh, yeah, you bet. I skipped through the last couple of those. Thanks for keeping me on track. Both Mikey's phone number and my phone number is here. And I believe earlier on we have Tom's phone number, but I know Mikey will get the link pulled up. So if anybody wanted that QR code to scan before you left, we can get that done. Are there any questions that we can answer? Because if you have asked it, somebody has. Woohoo!
Some questions come up online.
Yes.
But let me do the one in-house first. It says do not pay
Right. You bet. So thank you, Tom.
Sorry, yeah, that's a great question because I get that a lot. What happens is sometimes you might have usually it seems like it's usually a medical collection. And what happens is people want to pay it off, and they'll go to the doctor, they think that their insurance was going to cover it, and the insurance doesn't cover it. Well, when you pay off, that might be 2-3 years old. When you pay it off, now it shows as a recent activity on a collection account, and your scores dip instead of going up. Eventually they go up, but so sometimes it's just a matter of let's talk before you do anything.
I know, isn't that a surprise?
So is that towards just medical, or does that?
Anything, because that would be new activity on a bad item.
So what would you advise when your bank decides that reaching out to you, kind of like recommend like a market person to you? What do you
Yes.
bank, they're trying to even use some, I'll call it a bait. How if you're ready to buy, I'm gonna give you $10,000 and whatever you have to start off with.
The important thing is to compare overall costs. So they might give you $10,000 to go toward closing costs or whatever, but what's the rate? So will you be paying more in interest rate and have a higher payment that offsets that expense that they took on your behalf? Builders do that a lot. I'll give you 20 grand to use our lender, but what's the rate? So you really got to look at both.
The next question I have coming online says, how do you get help to build your credit?
How do you get help to build your credit? Go.
That's what I'm trying to pull up. Where
Perfect.
It would help that as well.
Yep.
We could look at that. A lot of this it would be your individual needs. So we could always talk about it, and then I could give you any advice. But this thing that we're trying to pull up for you also will have very, very helpful where you can do it. It gives you the
What
guidance
if?
on it. So.
Yeah, because your answer is going to be different than her answer, going to be different than his.
And then the next one says, what is the best credit score you need to buy a house?
So it's the higher the better. But I mean, I have programs that literally go down to 500.
Yeah, so you've got a pulse.
And for others that don't know, it only goes to 850, the ones that lenders use. So sometimes the ones that we can pull on our own, people say, oh, I have 900 or something. Well, it only goes to 850. But then,
So 850 or higher?
No,
it only goes that.
That's
it
the
only
max.
Goes as high as it goes. So above 500, we could get you in. My goal is to get you the best rate, so the best program. So
the better the score, the better the program and rate.
The better the score, the better the rate.
Yep.
Okay. So then the next question is, what resources are there for first-time home buyers?
Great question. Great question. There's lots of down payment assistance kind of programs. There's different loan types. By the way, I'm always willing to do, especially first-time buyer. I have a presentation I do over Zoom where we kind of go over the different loan types and the different loan programs. But yeah, there is down payment assistance where there's grants, there's second loans or stuff like that where, again, it just kind of helps you become that homeowner to start building that wealth. So
are those programs tailored to an individual's need, or is it a one-size-fits-all for first-time buyers?
Your first one, it's tailored to, because there's several different ones. Yeah. And to Lori's point, where she's talking about the Heroes for Home program, I mean, I would gladly extend any of those benefits to anyone, in present today. So.
Perfect.
And then the final one says, if I have the minimal credit required and do everything that I've been suggested by either is it you that was suggested?
Yeah.
So what is your title?
Mortgage broker.
The mortgage broker. Does that mean I can have my house designed and built for me the way I want it?
Good question. We work with builders, and many times builders have their own in-house lender, and they can offer some ridiculous incentives Tom will look at it and see if he can beat it, but sometimes because they're an in-pocket, we'll say, lender, they can give you a little bit more cash. So yes, we've worked with many first-time home buyers who go in and have their home built. I doubt you would have a custom home built, but you could go into Lennar, Shea, D.R. Horton, Richmond, and have your home built that way. Those are all great questions. Wonderful. Any others? All right, well, we're going to get that pulled up.
Yeah, he's pulling up now.
So,
Along the lines of just trusting who you're working with, I will have people, sometimes you go to a new build, you're trying to get a brand new house built. Sometimes the builder will own the lender, and they give incentives that I can't, and I'll be the first one to tell you, like, if it was me, I would use their lender, A lot of times, usually to Lori's point, their lender has an inflated rate, inflated cost, everything else, where they still won't beat me, so.
yep. Both of my kids' loans were done by Tom. So Tom is somebody that I personally trust, not just to refer to you. All right? Wonderful. Mikey bought donuts, since y'all were patient and stayed and put up with
I
this.
think we're tying it up.
It makes us
One
sweet.
last thing, I don't know if you have a scan, a QR code. Mikey, is it easier just to walk around with it? Yeah, right now, okay.
Oh, good. So it's going to come up on the screen?
Yeah, where you can
Take your phone.
this is the thing I was telling you. It's completely free to you, but it'll have Mikey's information. See that handsome man right there? If you have a phone, if you can scan that.
Oh, you are such a good tech guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thanks. We appreciate your guys' time and patience. Great questions. And we're going to turn it back over.
So we'll make sure the church gets all your contact information.
Perfect.
Okay.
That way they can reach out to you guys and ask for questions, individual situations.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much for having us.
So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. I love that we could work in entrepreneur and 5 to 9, 9 to 5. Wow. I'll hand them.
Yeah, that was good. That was detailed.
We can use it and reach out to them. I hope our children also did learn something and
Okay. And also, a really good point is in knowing your source. Is somebody telling you don't buy? It's because they don't own? Like, what's their net worth? So are you following the right examples?
thank you so much. All right. Yeah, if you can have the giving platform online for us, let's bring our tithes and our offerings to the house. And let's participate in our communion this morning as we get ready.